Hi, this is Mackenzie Aston, one of the stars of the Garbage Pail Kids movie, and you're listening to The Skeleton Crew, exclusively at HorrorBid.com.
You're listening to The Skeleton Crew, exclusively at HorrorBid.com. Hey guys, we're back. It's The Skeleton Crew at HorrorBid.com. We got a very big show for you. It is jam-packed, so we're going to get to it right away. We just got a couple things to mention. I'm here with Mike. We're going to be joined later. Dan's coming in on the interview with Adam Green. Then we got our boss Justin coming on in the third segment of the show. Now, Mike, what is the movie that you want people to steer away, beware, do not pass go? Tell everybody the movie.
Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor.
There's a guy...
Don't buy this movie.
Yeah.
Don't buy it.
There's a guy who has a Facebook of the official Sleepaway Camp 4, The Survivor. He basically took VHS tapes, edited all three movies, the original Sleepaway Camps, tried to make it into something, had a girl overdub her voice, then added in the footage from that strange film they were shooting back in the, 90s, I guess, Mike?
I think it was 92. And it's weird because the way that they did it, only less than 5 minutes of it, and the movie's only 70 minutes long, but less than 5 minutes were the new footage.
Less than 5 minutes. Guys, it's basically a scam. Mike, what did you pay for that?
With tax and shipping, it was like $18.50, I think.
18 wasted dollars. So guys, do not buy this movie. Please listen to us. It's a waste. Hopefully somebody will put it on YouTube one day, and that's where it should. That's where it belongs.
Yeah.
Now, we want to just correct ourselves real quick. Last week we said Stakeland was a movie that everybody should watch on Netflix. I thought it was on streaming. It was not on streaming. So, actually, we want to recommend, instead of telling you guys that, hey, we should all watch a movie and then talking about it the next week, we'd rather say that there's a movie that we like, that you should watch it on Netflix if you like this type of movie or like our opinions. And one of them, for me, is Hellraiser Revelations. Now, Mike, I know, you heard nothing but negative things about that movie.
Mm-hmm. It's not Doug Bradley, dude.
It's not Doug Bradley, but I'm going to tell you something. It was good. I watched it. It's on Netflix. It's free if you have Netflix already. Mm-hmm. Stream it, Mike. Just watch it. Get that whole stigma out of your mind that, he's not in it, so it sucks. Look, people love Freddy vs. Jason, and it wasn't Kane Hodder. And I know he's not wearing a mask. It's personality. It's all, But try. People like the new Nightmare on Elm Street. Well, some people, about 5. And Robert Englund's not in it. But, so there you go. I think it's possible to move on with things like that. And people have asked us, are we going to do more shows like those in-depth looks we took at Friday the 13th and stuff? Somebody asked us to do Nightmare on Elm Street a couple weeks ago, about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We will do things like that. We are definitely going to dive into a lot of franchises, even ones that are not as big, like Sleepaway Camp or Ghoulies or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or the House movies. I don't know how in-depth we'll get with each one, but, maybe one big show for, the smaller franchises.
Could.
That sounds good.
Could.
Yeah,
it does.
All right, so anyway, sorry to rush the show along. We got a lot. Like I said, it's jam-packed. We have a lot coming up. And right now, we got an interview with Adam Green. So we're going to speed right along, and here we are with an interview with the one, the only Adam Green. It was a great interview. I hope you enjoy it. We have the man who brought old school horror back with Hatchet. Now he's working on an all-new show on FearNet called Holliston. Please welcome to the show, Adam Green.
What's up?
How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. For people who haven't seen it, can you describe Holliston and give people the overall feel of the show and what it's all about?
Holliston is a traditional multi-camera sitcom, like the type of stuff that we all grew up on, like Friends or Seinfeld, even maybe a little bit like Big Bang Theory or How I Met Your Mother, only it's geared towards horror fans. It's a show about two guys that are aspiring horror movie filmmakers, played by myself and Joe Lynch. and we're living in the small town of Holliston, Massachusetts, and struggling to make ends meet, shit-ass broke, and trying to make a horror movie called Shin Pads about an undead zombie soccer team. The show it's really weird, especially the first time you watch it, because it's got the live studio audience and the laugh track. At times it feels just like any other major network sitcom, but then randomly heads will explode or people will be stabbed. Or like last night's episode, Victor Crowley jumped out from behind my bed and chopped my face off. Which
yeah, that was
I've
awesome.
been hearing from fans all day how much they enjoyed watching my own monster kill me. Also in the cast, we have Laura Ortiz, which horror fans might know as Ruby from The Hills Have Eyes remake, Corey English, who people have seen in movies like Unrest or House of Fear. And then we have Dee Snider, who plays our cross-dressing, ambiguously gay boss at our cable station named Lance Rocket. And he's a dude who is 54 years old, but still holding on to the 80s, coming into work every day in leather pants and spandex. And he's the lead singer for a Van Halen tribute band called Diver Down. He still thinks he's going to make it. And then rounding out the cast is Odorous Urungus from Guar, who is my imaginary friend who lives in my closet. So if that wasn't weird enough, we also have amazing guest stars this season like Tony Todd and Ray Wise and Kane Hodder and Danielle Harris and Brian Posehn. And actually episode 5 has a huge guest star, which we can't talk about yet, but it was amazing how many people came out to play with us on this, because it's a very unique, weird type of thing that's never been done before. And it's been shocking how quickly the horror fans embraced it, because we had no idea what to expect, because it is extremely unique to take something that is so not horror and then put our spin on it. And we didn't know if fans were just going to be too weirded out by the whole idea of a sitcom and a laugh track, but people are really embracing it. And it's different from everything else I've done, because normally you get fan mail after a movie comes out just saying like, oh, Frozen was scary or Spiral kicked ass. But with this, we're actually getting like thank you letters from people, because the horror fans are very happy to see themselves being portrayed as real people on a show like this, because normally the horror fan is always like the butt of the joke or the sidekick or the weird guy cutting himself in the corner. But now you have the weird guy cutting himself front and center. So works so well.
It sounds really great. It's like you got the whole horror community kind of together in a whole fun little project here.
Yeah, and I mean, I think for a lot of the actors, like, especially like genre actors, they didn't get into acting to only do horror movies and play the same characters over and over again.
Right.
So for them, they're really jumping at this opportunity to show what they can do and do straight comedy, and they're good at it. And I'm glad that people are seeing that. I think with Hatchet 2 especially, Tony Todd played such a funny character in that movie, and a lot of people had never seen him do comedy before. Mm-hmm. And when you see his episode of Holliston, I mean, he's playing himself, but he's playing a horrible version of himself. And the fact that he was willing to do that was fantastic.
Like, is there talks of season 2 already?
Yes, there are talks of season 2. We don't have official word yet, and we've only had 2 episodes air, so it's still a little premature to know either way. But yeah, they're thrilled with it, and you know, it's their first original show that they've done, and it was definitely a risky thing to do, because I think most people expected them to do like an X-Files or a Tales from the Crypt type of thing that you would just naturally expect a horror network to do.
Exactly.
But Peter Block, who's the president of the network, he produced Frozen, and before he was on his own doing movies, he was one of the heads at Lionsgate, and he's the guy who made the decision to put movies like Saw and Cabin Fever and The Descent on a lot of screens and actually promote them. So he's really a genius when it comes to this stuff. And when we sat down to talk about FearNet, he was like, you know, I want to do a show that nobody would expect me to do, and I want to do something that you're in, which I was sort of surprised by. But he's like, the shorts that you do, the stuff that you and Joe have done, he's like, I know you don't want to do hosting stuff and you're busy with your movies, but, you know, do you have anything? And I had been waiting 13 years to get this show made. I've been trying forever, and so many times it's been set up at various networks, but usually around the time when you get to the Alien in the Closet, that's when they start saying, like, I don't know. And or like just some of the references like Scanners or Shocker or Gremlins or like can you just do Star Wars references? People know Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
And we do have Star Wars references, but we also have Cannibal Holocaust.
Dan, you had a question about the show?
Yeah, well, see, I love the show, first of all, Adam. I think it's brilliant, man. I just think it's right on. It's perfect. And I caught all those references, too. And, you know, the diehard horror fans appreciate that so much, man, honestly. And that's the thing. I saw it a little bit before everybody because I was down at the Emerson College down there, and so I got to see a little sneak preview. You guys showed the first and the third episode, and we were dying. And like you said about the laugh track, you didn't know how people were going to react. I found it beyond hilarious, to be perfectly honest with you. I thought it was perfect.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's one of those things that if you give it a chance and you go into it with an open mind, I think a lot of people have the same reaction you did. But with this show, a lot of people just didn't know what to expect. Like they hear that it's Joe and I, and they see who else is in the cast, and I think some people were, or at least I expected people to be caught off guard by just how much of a sitcom that it is, and the fact that we're not making fun of sitcoms. We're not doing a parody of it or shitting on it. We are a sitcom, but we're just doing it our way. So I'm really, really happy with how positive the response has been. Like we expected it to just be like a hate fest right out of the gate. Like, first of all, like these guys are directors. Why are they acting? But we got so little of that. And even the people who did went and retracted their statements once they saw the second episode. And they were like, oh, wait a minute, maybe it is good. So yeah, CNN's really, really happy with the response they're getting. And I think on a business level, it was just a smart move for them because it shows that they're a viable network and that they're not just horror movies and the same old thing.
Right, exactly.
If the show works, I think this network could be a huge thing for the genre because it could be like an anything goes network.
Exactly. And I always thought that I don't understand how this hasn't been done before. If you think of the concept, throw comedy into horror like that and make it a sitcom, I mean, it's almost perfect. It's great, man.
You got to remember with other networks, they already have their existing shows that are working, and so every show that they make has to fit with those shows. And especially because we're not making fun of sitcoms, but the show is very aware of itself that it's a sitcom, and we'll make fun of the studio audience. Like in the first episode, the first time that Joe says the word Holliston, we had a plant in the audience to get really excited and yell out, "Oh my God, he said Holliston! That's the name of the town and the show." Stuff like that. You couldn't do that with playing with How I Met Your Mother because now you're making How I Met Your Mother look stupid. So, So I do understand why they wouldn't do it. And there were other networks that did develop this show at one point, but that type of humor and the horror stuff they wanted to take out of it because they're just like, well, Middle America isn't going to go for this. But people forget that horror is just as popular as porn. It's like everybody likes it. They might not want to admit it, but everybody likes it. And for me, what was important was to show that horror fans are real people. If anybody understands what it's like to have your heart broken and to be told no and to have doors shut in your face, it's horror fans. And that's why we're a community and a culture and not just fans. You don't see romantic comedy conventions and stuff like that. With horror, it's a way of life. And I think that's why the response has been so unique for this, because I've never had that before, where people are writing saying thank you for making it and just thank you for the show existing. And it's building so fast. We thought this first season would just be like a tree falling in the woods and maybe my fan base or whatever would know about it, but that it would take a while. And it didn't. I mean, right out of the gate, our first night we placed number 6 on Get Glue, which isn't even just all the shows that were on that night. With Get Glue, you check in for whatever you're watching. So if you're watching Poltergeist, you can check in and say you're watching Poltergeist. So the fact that out of everything that exists, we were the number 6 most popular was insane. We weren't even expecting to place in the top 100.
Wow.
So yeah, it's and now other networks are all calling, asking for their own screeners and to have meetings and talk about it, and so people are paying attention, which is good, and the fans did that. And that's the good thing about horror fans. It's like when they're behind something and they make enough noise, they're the ones who carry it. And I'm proud to be a horror fan because of the way that they've reacted to this, and it's everything I could have hoped.
And I think that's why they reacted the way they did, to be perfectly honest with you, Adam, because you kind of do represent, you know, obviously you're a big-time horror director, but you've always kind of represented the fans, and I think that's why everyone loves it when you put your all into it, because let's face it, if they put something out where it was half-assed and kind of phoned in, the horror fans wouldn't buy it. So honestly, I'm so glad you did this, and like I said, I think it's perfect, and that's why people are responding the way they are.
Thank you.
And the other thing I wanted to touch on really quick is Hatchet 3 in the works.
Hatchet 3 starts shooting in 3 weeks. So we're prepping it now. I can't talk too much about it yet. But BJ McDonnell is directing. He's the guy that I chose back when we were making Hatchet 2. I knew that he was the one that I wanted to take it over. For me, I think 2 Hatchets was definitely enough to direct. But I did write Hatchet 3. I'm producing it. I'm going to be on set every day. So it's still my baby, like all the kills, everything that people love about it. I came up with all of it. It's all there. And BJ, he shot the first 2 Hatchet movies. He shot Spiral. He shot all of Rob Zombie's movies. He shot Tom Cruise's new movie. I mean, he's done everything, and he definitely knows what he's doing. But most importantly, you know, a lot of people, they want to be a film director, and they start out doing horror because it's a way to get your start. Like, these are the kinds of movies that he wants to make, and that's all like he wants to do. And he's also just such a loyal part of the Ariscope family that he's been on other sets wearing his like Hatchet crew shirt, and there's always that Grip or Electric who's like, "Oh, Hatchet, that movie sucked," and he'll literally fight them like right there. So it's like that's the type of guy that you want leading the ship.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I know you're good friends with Dee Snider. Did he ever approach you about maybe working with him on Strangeland 2, even though it's not really your style?
There was plans for Strangeland 2. I was never involved. I mean, I've read the script a bunch and sort of helped Dee along the way with it, but Strangeland isn't really my cup of tea in terms of storytelling because it deals with a lot of torture, and that's just like, I love Strangeland, but it's, from my sensibilities, I tend to lean more towards the fun stuff. Like occasionally I'll do something like Spiral or Frozen that's like dead serious, or even Grace that I produce, but I'm not really down with the torture thing in terms of making it myself, so I wasn't really the right person for it. But unfortunately it doesn't look like anything's happening with it now. Just like anything, it's like it seems like something's happening, and then you know, the powers that be, just for some reason shit goes wrong, and then it ends up not happening. But they were actually like getting ready to shoot that movie about a year and a half ago. Like it was a total go green light thing, and then one thing led to another, and it didn't happen. So, but he's so busy. I don't even know how he would have time. I mean, he's got a book coming out, a solo record. He just did Celebrity Apprentice. He's got Holliston. He's going to be on Broadway again for Rock of Ages. So he's like in the prime of his career right now, which is amazing to see.
All right, Adam, we just have a quick question from AlleyCat24AA. She wanted to ask you.
Sure.
Frozen and Hatchet are essentially 2 different aspects of the horror genre. Which do you prefer, mad slasher with tons of gore and blood, or more serious psychological horror?
It's sort of just whatever's inspiring me at the moment, whatever I feel like doing. Like when I made Hatchet 1, that was really spawned by my frustration as a horror fan for what was happening in the genre, because when that movie came out, we made it in 2005, and that was in the middle of the remake craze was really taking off, and your options as a fan were either a remake, a PG-13 slasher movie, which it's not a slasher movie if it's PG-13. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying you can't make a good PG-13 movie. Like, there's plenty of great PG-13 horror movies, but a slasher movie is about slashing. And so I was fed up with that. And then the torture thing, like, I was sick of going to movies and being punished. Like, I didn't get into this to watch a woman get strapped to a chair and tortured and scream for her life and get raped. And I was like, what happened here? Like, when there was a time when we had villains and fun, and then like all the CGI shit. Like, what happened to Tom Savini and John Buechler? And like, there was an art to this that was like a magic show. So that's why I made Hatchet. And then really the only reason I made Hatchet 2 was because I had it planned since before I made the first one. I knew exactly what was going to happen and really rolled the dice on that. Even the way that I ended Hatchet 1, knowing how Hatchet 2 was going to start. Like, what if nobody ever saw Hatchet? What if it never came out? What if people didn't like it? It was a ballsy way to end that movie, but thankfully I gambled on the fans and I won. But then like Spiral, which I adore, that's one of my favorite movies I've done, and Frozen, those are more like Hitchcock, who I love and worship. And I mean, ultimately, I'm still hoping one day to make my own sort of E.T. type movie, because E.T. is my favorite movie of all time. So I've been really lucky, because not many people independently can do what I've been able to do, and the fact that I have my own studio now and I don't need to chase these studio movies, that I have like a franchise with Hatchet. I have my own sitcom series. I get to do so many different things, and it was very hard to do that, and not many people have been able to do it, so I'm very lucky. But every time that like my agents will call me and be like, they're looking for, you know, the remake of this one or that one, and I know every director in town is running after these things, even if they don't really want to do it, but they just need a job.
Right.
And I'm lucky that I don't need to do that. Like, I'm not anti-remake, but if I ever do one, it's going to be because I really, really want to do it. But
yeah, okay. Well, you have all that stuff going and all this freedom now, so what can we look forward to in the future for Adam Green?
Well, Hatchet 3 will be out either the end of this year or early next year. Hopefully there's going to be the second season of Holliston. This season still has 4 more episodes to go, so this will take us through May. And then I'm working on a movie called Killer Pizza that I'm doing for MGM and Chris Columbus. So see, like, right there, there's like a big studio movie.
Yeah.
But it's the best way to describe Killer Pizza is kind of like Ghostbusters and Monster Squad type thing.
Okay.
It's based on a children's book that was written for 8-year-olds about a kid who gets a summer job at a place called Killer Pizza and then finds out that it's a covert monster hunting organization. So the book was very sort of thin, and there was only one monster in it, but they let me really blow it out really big and kind of write this big summer blockbuster movie. And so getting to work with Chris Columbus was a dream come true. He was the reason why I started learning how to write in the first place, because Goonies and Gremlins, when I was a kid and I saw those movies, I was like, man, these kids talk like I do. And normally it's not like that. As you're listening to an adult try to talk how they think kids speak. But like the Goonies has still some of the best dialogue ever. So that whole experience has been amazing. I don't know when the movie is going to actually get made or come out because it's a studio movie. I can tell you that just the contractual paperwork, it's taken so long that in the time it's taken them to close on like a deal point, I put out Showorama. I made a season of a sitcom, and it's already on TV. I wrote Hatchet 3, and it's starting to shoot, and they're still going back and forth with lawyers over like something that has nothing to even do with me. I don't even know what it is. Wow. So that takes a while. And then the other thing I'm working on is a project called Digging Up the Marrow. There's an urban artist named Alex Pardee, who's like my favorite living artist, and he introduced himself to me at a horror convention, and it turns out he was also a fan of mine, and we just started talking about monster art and where monsters come from. And we sort of just set out to make this documentary about monsters. And the cool thing about this project is we don't know what it's actually going to end up being. We just keep making it. And then at some point, we'll just sit back and figure out what we've done. But it started as a straight documentary, but now it's becoming a little bit more of a narrative. Like, I wouldn't really use the word mockumentary yet.
Right.
But it's fascinating. The more people you talk to about monsters, the more convinced I am that maybe they are real.
Wow. Adam, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. and we're really looking forward to everything you got going on. And as you know, Dan's a huge fan of Holliston, and I can't wait to see it. I don't have FearNet, but I'm sure I'll get...
You have iTunes. It's on iTunes, and I highly recommend, if you watch it on iTunes, that you get the HD season pass. It's only like $14.99, and you get the whole season, but it's in HD, and it looks and it sounds perfect.
Awesome.
Because even when it plays on the broadcast network, it's in standard def, and
Right.
so it's kind of heartbreaking to see what it looks and sounds like after you put so much effort into making it look and sound so good. But really, thank you guys for supporting Holliston. It's the most important training that I've done. It's the closest to me. And then just to HorrorBid in general, I know you guys have been so supportive of everything I've done, and I really, really appreciate it. And even though I can't always respond or write back, I do see what you guys are doing, and my whole crew, all of us, we all see it, and we really, really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Adam.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
All right,
Okay.
have a good one, man.
Take care.
Bye.
Man lives in the sunlit world of what he believes to be reality. But there is, unseen by most, an underworld, a place that is just as real, but not as brightly lit. A dark side.
Such a douchebag.
All right, and we are back, and we are joined by our boss here, the webmaster of HorrorBid.com, Justin Swarns himself.
Yes,
Welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you very much, Alex. It's good to be. I can't believe this is happening. What have you guys been doing for the past 10 months? No, it's great to have you guys back. I have missed you guys during the off season, and it's like we've got the House of Horror now, and the Skeleton Crew. It's like the NWO versus WCW almost.
It's really great to be back. I mean, it's been 9 long months, like you said, and you know, honestly, when Mike came to me and he said, you know, I'm thinking about contacting Justin, I never thought in a million years that you were going to be like, oh, sure, that's a great idea. Like, when you first heard, when Mike contacted you, how did he approach you, and what were you thinking when you first read that or heard him or whatever?
You know, Mike called me out of the blue, and the thing is that I have never, I've never had a problem with Mike. I know that some words were said, but I know Mike from a long time of us talking, just me and him. I know what kind of guy he genuinely is. And so when Mike called and said that, hey, you guys were thinking about coming back, and I was like, of course, man. It's a complete win-win because he was such a good friend. Alex, me and you were always very similar in our ideas and things like that. So it was a no-brainer. Now, there was certain aspects of the show that I didn't want to be a part of anymore, and Mike was very assuring on that wouldn't happen. But you guys were more than welcome back, and you guys have been doing a terrific job. So
thank you.
I mean, I never thought Mike would call, but I knew that if he ever did, that it would always be water under the bridge because we love horror, and you're not going to hold us apart.
Yeah, and I remember me and you talked. You called me because you were looking for like a phone number or something in January or something like that, and you called me, and you actually mentioned maybe doing a show again or something like that. And
absolutely.
Yeah, and at the time I was like, I don't know, I don't know if I'm up for that right now. My head.
Right.
And also, when Mike proposed the idea to me, he said, Justin wants to do a show, just me and you. It'll be different from the last show. And then I was like, well, who's going to be the host? And he goes, well, you. And I'm like right there, I'm like, look, I'm not a host. I'm a co-host.
No, you're not a co-host, Alex. But I don't know who beat that into you. But no, you are very much a host, and you know what? You give the show structure, and that's nice for the people that don't particularly care about hearing about, 30 minutes of exercising or what they've been doing the past week or whatever. This should be about horror and letting your guys' personalities come out when you talk about the movies. And I think that in the past it was the other way around, and everybody's here to hear about horror. They might like Alex and they might like you, Michael J., but they're going to do that because you guys are talking about horror. They're not going to just come on here and want to hear about what you guys had for breakfast. It's not reality TV, nor did we ever say that that's what it was going to be. So I definitely think this new approach is working, and I think Alex, me, and even Mike, we talked about this before you guys took a break of doing it this way. And, it's paying off. It's working. You guys are fantastic, and you guys are sticking with actually talking about horror, which is weird to have on a horror website.
Yeah, isn't it?
That's where the room shot goes in.
It will be there.
Yes, it will, finally. After 9 months, I get it.
Like I said, I never did the host thing, so honestly, I felt a little bit of pressure. I said, wow, I hope Justin doesn't listen to these shows, and he's like, oh my God, this was such a bad idea.
No, you did. I would tell you if you didn't, and I've really enjoyed them.
What would you do? Let's just say we did the shows, and I was a terrible host. Would you go, Alex, look, can you hire someone else to host? Like, what would you have done? Right. What would you have done if they were...
I probably would have just been like, this isn't working out very well, and just been like, let's try to do something else. But, we would have tried to work it out, but, we've been down that path before, and we know where it leads. Yes, and my weight loss is going fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Me too.
11 pounds. Been exercising, actually. Wife's been taking me out walking, which is sad. I'm like a crippled, elderly, fat person. But no, I'm working on it, man. I haven't had a carb in, I think, 11 days. And it's, a lot of people think that's an easy way to lose weight. But it's tough not eating carbs.
Yeah.
So
it's very hard.
Yeah, trying to take care of the old body.
I actually gave you pretty good advice. Did you read what I wrote?
No, you did. Yeah, you did. But I can't get hookers in Louisville.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't know. They're not legal.
Yeah, well, I thought you lived in New Orleans. I didn't know where you lived.
Immediately we come out.
Yeah,
with the comedy. So.
Oh, boy. Hey, so what do you guys think of Anthony Hopkins as Hitchcock?
Oh, I think it was pretty creepy how dead on it was, and a lot of people are interested in that. So, yeah, I'm always game. I love Anthony Hopkins, and I love Alfred Hitchcock. So,
Mike, I gotta say that was an awesome segue. Now, Justin.
Oh, I just figured, you guys would throw.
Yeah, it was too good. It was. Dude, Mike, you have did fantastic in the things. You bring up the greatest points. You love the movies that most people hate, and by God, you speak your mind, and that's what we like.
Yep, Mike is a great addition.
Thank you, but
you are truly one of a kind.
Yes.
Thank you, but you got to realize where I'm coming from.
And I hate
logic to these things.
But there is no logic with you, Mike. That's why you're Michael J. You're the illogical logic.
That is correct, I guess.
See, I mean, that doesn't make any sense. So see, it's perfect.
And that's why he's on the show.
And that's why he's on the show.
We need a little bit of chaos in here.
Exactly. And cue Dan Chase.
Thanks for taking a chance on me too, Justin, because when we started, man, I was kind of like, I was just kind of brought on as like, oh, yeah, by the way, we got this guy. So it was kind of like a time period. And like I said, it's tough because I don't want to be the guy that just kind of come in and be like, oh, hey, guys, I'm on a podcast. Look at me, do my two-step. Like, I want to add something, and I want to bring something.
Well, I loved it. I loved the Friday the 13th episodes.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a trying period, 12 shows in a row, and believe me,
I can't imagine how but you guys made it work, and that was the fun thing. You guys broke down those movies into ways that I didn't know they could be broken down to, and I always try to watch a couple of Friday the 13th movies during that period anyway, when there is an actual Friday the 13th approaching, and you know, with those shows, you really didn't have to. You guys really went over things so much that it was like going through them, watching them with commentary, and to hear you guys' opinion and stuff. It was fun, and you know.
Now, wait, but Justin, tell the truth. By the 9th, 10th, or 11th show, you're like, I'm so sick of hearing these guys now.
You know, honestly, no, I really wasn't. I really did dig it. I mean, I'm being serious. I really liked you guys. I could tell, though. I mean, look, that's a lot of shows to do. I can't imagine. I mean, these are like hour-long shows, so, you know, I can't imagine doing it. So, you know, I'm sure it was taxing for you guys, but as a fan, I had fun. Listening to it and disagreeing with you guys and agreeing with you and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you know, last week when we did the show, Dan wasn't able to sit in on the review of Cabin in the Woods, and I saw a couple posts that Justin made about Cabin in the Woods. So now that you two are here, I would love to hear you bounce back and forth. Now, I you know, a lot of people. Nobody agreed with us so far in any feedback.
That's not true. Well, yeah, in feedback, but I mean, I don't think that. I mean, you know, I think a lot of people aren't coming. I think again, this is one of those movies that so many people are on the bandwagon. It's tough to stand back from the bandwagon.
Yeah.
And
but we did it anyway at whatever cost it might be. But you know
right,
what?
right.
You know, I'll tell you what though, the listeners are really nice. They all said nice things like, I hate to disagree with you guys. I love the show, but you know, so they were very cool about it. And like, I thought we were cool. I didn't feel like I was tearing it apart. I felt like I was asking questions.
You didn't. No. You guys said exactly what you thought. But here's my only gripe. Well, actually, I was squeezing one of those stress balls when you guys were talking because I was like, these motherfuckers. Anyways, but you know, here's my main thing about it. Now, would you guys agree that probably the hype was probably the worst part of this movie because going in, it tells you this is not what you expect. Now, with that said, okay, it's kind of it's a horror movie. Kind of in the beginning or whatever, but it's not about the kills. It's not about that stuff. It's about the behind-the-scenes shit. It's kind of a sci-fi movie disguised as a horror movie. And here's my main thing about this movie. Now, I have to get this out before it slips my mind again. Now, this movie, look at everything that's been out. Now, whatever you think about Paranormal Activity, that series or whatever, there has not been a horror movie that has kind of just come out of left field and give you what it gave you, and it was shocking, and it was like, okay, I didn't expect this. Whether you like it or not, it was fucking new, and it was a fresh idea, and I think that's why it kept getting put up against Scream and stuff, because when Scream came out, everybody was like, holy shit, fucking horror's back. I don't look at it like, oh, it's the meta thing, because it does have that in common too, but I never thought that. It's totally different, dude. It's totally different. And if you watch this movie, I've seen it 3 times already in the theater. I just can't get enough of it. That one scene with the SWAT team and then all those doors open, I'm not going to give anything away, but are you fucking kidding me? Come on. That is some cool shit. So whether you look at it as a horror movie, as a sci-fi movie, whatever, it surprised me. And the main thing is I had fun with it. And if you look at all the other movies, dude, what other horror movie even in the last 10 years, can you say, oh my God, that was surprising, that shocked me, that was really cool, that was an original idea? That was my only thing about this movie. You know, that's why I loved it.
I don't know. I think that the writers overthought this, honestly. I
think one thing that's not being brought up either about this movie is this movie was on the shelf since 2008. I mean, you know, MGM went bankrupt, and you know, nobody wanted to step up and take a chance on this movie. Yep. And another thing is, this movie isn't doing great at the box office. I mean, it's by no means like blowing things up. So I mean, is it getting good reviews? Are a lot of people having fun with it? Yeah, but this isn't Scream. I mean, a lot of people were thinking Scream didn't do very well on its opening weekend, and then went back and did well. But I mean, I don't think that I do agree with you, Alex, that there's so many different shifts here that it is tough. I mean, if they would have focused a little bit more in one area or the other, I think that maybe you guys would have liked it more. Mike, I got your point of, definitely feeling like there was Pinhead in here, and I would have loved to have seen, had they had the opportunity to get Michael Myers, Jason, aliens, all these different things. And that's what they were going for, let's face it.
I mean, strangers, they did a bunch of shit. Yeah,
and they absolutely, and that's what they were trying to do, but it also felt very generic that they couldn't get these real people. So, but again, they have the snake, like Anaconda, I'm assuming, and different things like, I don't know where the merman come from, but anyway, it was still funny. Yeah, and it was funny, but I mean, at no point in this, I have gone from liking, and will always like, but I mean, I have gone from just watching slasher movies to liking more, actual cerebral, really, movies that actually terrify me. Now, this is not a scary movie. This is, even Scream had moments that had a lot of tension and stuff like this. This was a comedy that paid homage to the horror genre, I felt like.
Right.
It was right. It took itself seriously on some elements, but then again, it was very playful in the fact that it's a movie about ancient gods and things like this. So I think the movie knew very much so what it was going in, which they did. They didn't try to make a straight up horror movie, and then add commentary. So I appreciate where they went. Now, do I want to see 10 more of these movies? I don't know. I mean, I'm a fan of comedy and horror. I mean, I like The Evil Dead and things like that, but I don't know really where we can go from this. Hopefully, maybe this is just a one-off movie.
I hope so. I really do.
And then hopefully, we can go from here. And I do think it says a lot to Hollywood that people are really enjoying this, because I think it is so different that people are liking it. But I mean, I think that says that we need to allow more of this, horror movies in general, just to get a chance, because if people are liking this, then that means that, let's make a play on some other things out there that don't necessarily get released in theaters, like Trick or Treat, which is still a movie that I felt, deserved a theatrical release, didn't get shown. And, so there's tons of movies out there that get straight to, I mean, I'll tell you, a lot of the good horror nowadays is literally on DVD and Blu-ray. The Innkeepers just come out today. I am a huge fan of the Innkeepers. Ty West, I love
that movie.
Love the movie, and so a lot of movies aren't getting theatrical releases. So anyway, I'm glad that Kevin. Anytime a horror movie does good at the box office, I'm in love, because it's the horror genre. That's what we talk about. I want anything horror related to do well, and right now I think that horror is kind of struggling at the movies and doing well on TV with shows like The Walking Dead and
Holliston. Well, that's more comedy, but it's still
right. And, American Horror Story and things like that. I mean, I think the future for horror right now is literally on the small screen.
I saw your post today where you said you've had time to digest the Cabin in the Woods, so what do you think now? I kind of felt guilty when people were, like saying, well, what, this is good, what do you mean, blah, blah. Like, I actually felt a level of guilt, and I said, am I being too harsh? But here's the thing. No. So I did think about it, and I did digest it, and you know what popped into my mind? The Sixth Sense. And the reason why is because when that reveal took place at the end of The Sixth Sense, that, Bruce Willis was dead the whole time, and he was a ghost,
I haven't seen it yet, but okay.
You gave it away.
No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Go ahead, Al. Yeah. Rim shot.
Yeah, I'll get a rim shot. Don't worry. It added and made the movie 100 times better, and gave me a brain orgasm, and it was like, now this is some badass shit. This movie, this movie would have worked had that not even happened, and without that reveal. Now with Cabin in the Woods, that movie kept you wondering, and it's like, I get what they're doing with the whole meta horror movie thing, but I don't know exactly what this company is doing or why they're doing this. And once you find out that the company lures kids into a cabin to have them killed in order to appease gods, it's like, what the fuck? Like, this is what we were waiting for the whole time. This this reveal did not give me a brain orgasm. It didn't add anything to the movie, and it didn't make me feel like, wow, that was badass.
I from my standpoint, again, movies are subjective, so you can love it, you can hate it. I mean, I agree with you to the point. I actually think that the ending takes away from the movie, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't as I think if it would have come up with something a little different there at the ending, I might have been blown away a little bit more. But again, I tell you, I come out of this movie liking it a lot. Right. And as the days have gone on, now I do want to see it again. I think this is a movie that I probably would gain a little bit more knowing what goes on.
Right.
But
right,
then again, you know, so I think going back to see it might help. But you really shouldn't have to do that with a film. Right. You know, I don't know. It's Cabin in the Woods is one of those things right now that's it's just a hot topic. Everybody wants to talk about it, and that's cool. Right. And whether you like it, and if you guys didn't like it and you guys gave your opinion, dude, I think if you guys went on the air and said you guys like this movie and you guys didn't, then you guys are lying to people that are listening and lying to yourselves and things like that. So I think you guys should always be, tear a movie in part if you guys want to, but always back it up with what you guys think. And that's what you guys did. You guys had actual, this is why I didn't like it. You guys just didn't say, I hated this movie because it was overhyped and it was stupid and this and then. You guys gave your opinions on why you didn't like it. And, is if you guys have people come on and comment and take the time, nobody comments. People in this, we don't even like to stop to make a phone call, let alone make a paragraph or two comment. So if you guys have people say that, I really like this movie and you guys tore it apart, then that's great because you're getting people to take the time to say, I really like this movie and, I want to see why you guys didn't. So when you guys did the podcast, I think it was very well done. And
that said, I felt guilty. And you know what? Even though I felt guilty, I'm coming back on here. I'm basically holding my stance here. Like, I'm sorry. I'm so happy you guys loved it. Watch it. Go buy the Blu-ray. Have a great time. But I guess I'm not going to be doing that. I'll be left out. I'll be the dope in the corner while everyone's dead. So,
right. Well, no. I mean, that's why they sell tickets. I mean, they got you to go see if you liked it and you didn't. So that's. I mean, hey, you had it was better than sitting at home or going to exercise for 30 minutes on, walking on a trip.
I left the show on HorrorBid a couple times here and there, so I think this is more of a reunion for about 3 times. Yeah, about three.
It's like a revolving door.
I was the resident quitter. Now, Mike was there for the whole time, so I think this is more of a reunion for Mike and Justin. So guys, kiss, hug, do something.
Mike, I can't really kiss him through the phone.
Sure you can. Watch.
No, but I mean, mentally, I'm making out with you right now. I am pounding the snot out of you right now.
I'm
mentally. No, hey, Mike, since we haven't because we haven't did this in a long time. How many times have you watched Halloween 6 since the break? Since you guys were off exercising.
You're going to be surprised.
Yes.
Probably only about 15 or 20 times.
Oh my God.
I actually am surprised.
20 times in 9 months?
Well, can I just say something?
Like an endless well of just...
He really
is. Justin, while you're on the phone here, I got to tell you, I did see that the new contest on the site is Name Me Slasher Guy.
Yeah.
As of this fall, the Slasher Guy will be named Thorn when Nightmare is unleashed upon the world.
Well, Alex really took a chance on me, though, and that's why I really appreciate him because, listen, dude, I came in as kind of, a seat filler, really, kind of like a guy.
Whoa, Dan, there's no seat fillers on this show.
Not on this show, that's what I'm saying.
There's also not a constant reminder that there's a crippled...
Right.
Exactly. I didn't even know Mike had a handicap this time around. Right. Like, is that the same guy that worked here before? I don't know.
Yeah. He's basically giving me, basically exciting me about this stuff. And listen, man, I don't know what the hell I'm doing really, but with these guys, it feels like fun.
No, it's fun. You guys make it fun, and yeah, it is fun. And Mike can kick me in the crotch, and I will always go back to hugging
you in the crotch, sir.
No, Mike, you're a genuinely good guy, and I think that you would do anything for just about anybody. And we've always had a friendship. But no, having the podcast back has been really fun, and I'm tearing up right now for some reason.
I think it's a good chemistry. I think it's like it's like Mike brings the passion, I bring the analytical side of it, and Dan brings the party aspect. And when you put them together, it's like
you just described 3 people that get killed first in a horror movie.
Exactly. So we're probably gonna be thrown off this website in about 2 weeks.
Right, exactly. And we don't want you to start believing in your hype, Dan. So we'll never overhype you. We are not the Howard Stern of horror, and we've made that mistake before. So no, we're here to have fun, and we're here to realize that this is a website for horror and nothing more, and we're here to have fun, and and hopefully that's what you guys continue to do. But you guys have been doing fantastic. I'm thrilled that you guys are back, and like I said, it was like an off season. It was waiting 9 or 10 months for The Walking Dead to come back on. So
I know, right?
It seems like you guys have never left, except that it's just gotten better. So
thanks, man. Well, now here's the thing about the name Rabbit in Blue.
The dumbest name ever. I wanted to call it the Skeleton Crew from day one, and this idiot. Can I say that about you, Alex? Just idiot for no reason.
Me
says let's pick Rabbit and Blue, which is retarded. And so anyway, we're dropping the Rabbit and Blue thing. I think it's a little gimmicky.
Time to shed the fur.
Yeah, time to shed the fur. So it's going to be the Skeleton Crew from now on, and everybody knows who you guys are. And
hopefully after 13 goddamn shows.
Right. The one thing that it would never have been was Rabbit and Black, though, because that's just retarded.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd be the Kangaroo Crew, to be honest.
Right. It's much more structured, it feels. It feels like there's actually a structure to the show this time.
And if it's bad, then people are going to respond to it, and it's going to be bad, and it's going to go nowhere. But at the same time, with us, I feel like, and I'm not trying to suck my own dick here, or any of you guys for that matter.
You already have.
If you do, can you videotape it? I'd like to see that.
Oh, absolutely, dude. Oh, absolutely. I mean, just delete that other one that I sent you. But anyways, no, it's just like, it's fun, man, and that's the main thing, Justin. You let us have fun. You're not, hey, I want you guys to do this or do that. If you give us suggestions, obviously we're like, dude, absolutely. It's more like a thing. It's not like, our boss is coming on tonight.
Here, Dan, here it is. Me and Justin have the same sensibilities of structure, of content. So he knows that, and that's why he wanted to do this with me and Mike and you, and
he says, and you.
Yeah, and you.
Because you didn't know about Dan in the beginning.
But secretly, I still wanted you, Dan. Even though I didn't know you, I was like, there's something missing. Something party-like.
So he didn't have to tell us what to do. He knows that we know.
Right.
And there's no checking the show before it goes out. There's no did you talk about this? Did you hit that? There's nothing. It's free reign, and there's nothing generic about the show. We just have to. We're here to talk about horror, and that's about as generic as you're getting here. Yeah. And, a lot of people think that if someone likes a show right away, it's because they're generic and people are simple. And if they get the real different kind of shows, then that means they get it, and that's why they like me. But
yeah, 4 people get it, and that's the thing. I mean, it's like if you can do this stuff because you love doing it, and that's fine. If you want 4 people to listen, that's fine. Or if you want a lot of people to listen, then that's fine too. And that's the thing is you can do it whatever way that you want to. And I with HorrorBid, it's always been trying to reach as big of an audience as you can. And that's the route we picked. We decided that we didn't want to do 4 people. We weighed the option of doing that, and we thought that we would try to branch out and get more people involved, which is a silly thing thinking about it.
Yeah, but can I say
we had 4 really dedicated fans at one point.
Right.
I can't wait to hear more shows from you, and especially this interview coming up.
And thank you so much for coming on, dude. And it's a great privilege. It's a great privilege to be back on the site. I really am. Sometimes I drive around and I just think about that I'm so happy to be affiliated. No, I really am. I'm really. We really are. Seriously.
No, seriously. And Michael and Mike. The thing is that I hold nothing. I have no hard feelings towards anybody. And that's the way that it will be. There's very few people that I would not work with again, and you guys know who those are. And that's the thing is, I just want to have fun, and that's what HorrorBid's been about. And so you guys were always welcome back, and I'm so glad to have you guys back.
Guys, did you hear that? He said we're always welcome back. So the next time we get fired, we're welcome back again.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
No, thank you guys. Thank you. And Dan, really nice to finally get to speak with you, and we'll do this again sometime. And, and actually,
definitely.
just dissect a movie. How about that?
Yeah, okay.
This was kind of just a catch-up show, but we'll actually, I really want to come on here with you guys when I'm really passionate about a movie that I can talk with you guys about it too. So,
and I think
we'll have some fun
to hear from you too, Justin. To be honest with you, I think people want to hear that voice of yours.
Exactly. We'll see. The phone sex business didn't work so well, but maybe now it will. So.
Yeah, that Justin.
You never. Yeah, exactly. And Alex can have another brain. Alex can have another brain orgasm, which is such a man response, because I think when you have an orgasm, it's just in your brain. But Alex is like, I'll have a penis orgasm, because that's where the fluid comes out of.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a messy one.
I love you. Alex, we've all worked today. It's fantastic. It's a good crew. So keep up the good one.
Thank you, sir. All right, guys. Well, there we go. That's Justin Swarens, and we will be back next week without Justin, unfortunately, but he has a life and things. So this is Alex and Mike and Dan Chase, and we will see you next week.
Arrivederci, baby.